Yeah.
Let's kill the telly.
We're on. Hey, happy Sunday, the 17th of March. It is I, the crazy man, crazy horse, the king of idiots, Prince David, and Brother Kev. I'll leave you to introduce yourself there, my man. Off you go.
Hello, I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. How are you all doing today? How are we, people? Hope you're enjoying the sun. If you've got anywhere you are, and everybody's in good, at least mental spirits. Physical, I hope you're all good too, as much as you can be. It's good to see you. Here we are, random Sunday afternoon, rocking and rolling. Peace and love to you all.
It's a bit early for us, isn't it? It is early. It's my request to go early because I am up 6:30, 7:30, and by the time it comes to 9:30, 10, I'm tired and I'm fading and I'm not much competence-wise. I'm not very alive, we'll say, and I don't want to come on later and then be falling asleep and struggling to stay awake. So we thought we'll say hello now. I've posted into Facebook and I've shared it. I've asked the room to share it, and we've got a topic written there in the headline: "Give to Caesar what is Caesar, and to God what is God's." To do with coins, credits, taxes, thinking on along the lines of universal credits and citizens' advice. We're not giving you advice, but there's a place called Citizens Advice that does give advice, and we'd like to hear how you are, what, if any, advice you've had. This is open to our brothers and sisters across the pond. All forms of advice you've been given, how you're managing the promises and how you're managing financially, fiscally. And I'll hand over to you, Kev. You got any comments or anything you want to say regarding income, promises, credits, taxes, etc.? I'm going to post into the .com and tell them we're having a church.
Well, very interesting to see the advice, shall we call it, that the Citizens Advice Bureau have allegedly passed on to universal credit administrators. Very interesting. From what I gather, a bit unprecedented, and who are the CAB to make those sort of recommendations to a purported government authority? So yeah, it does perturb me a little, and seeing people overstep their mark. Clearly, we know who the cab's owned by, which should be no surprise to any of you, that the bar own them as well, like Dun and Bradstreet, etc. Hence, certain information not to being forthcoming makes perfect sense to us all. But these are the people you're dealing with. They're owned. They're not there for your benefit. I don't care what anybody says. They're not there. They're not on your side. From what I can gather with anybody I know that's gone to CAB for advice, their advice is go along with the process. Well, that's not advice I would give people personally, because the process is wrong. But I'll slow down a bit, Dave. You've got me on the subject I'm good at. So I won't take up
Crack
too
on.
much time.
You're good at a lot of subjects. That's why we love you, and you are quite dexterous. You have an eclectic knowledge on. Continue on, my brother. I'm loving it. I will back you up and say I've had a personal, first-hand interaction with the CAB when I got kicked out of a property, evicted, and I went beforehand, and they basically wanted me to consolidate, bow, kiss the ring, and not help me in any way. And with regards to my claims on the person's accounts and everything, I was telling them one thing and they wasn't agreeing with any of the lawful excuses that I had, and they tried to. So I've got knowledge first hand of these many years ago, and I found out that they're ex-solicitors and ex-types of finance and so forth that have that knowledge, that then retire or have spare time, run their own financial type areas, lawful legal areas, and then they inform in the form of advice through that bureau, which is bureaucracy. And Kev, over to you, my brother.
Yes, yeah, I bet they give you nice advice. I'm sure they do. Yeah, as I say, I mean, obviously it's the last, say, 5-6 years that we've been aware of who they are and who owns them, and then obviously everything becomes clear with their advice.
Yeah.
But yeah, not people I would personally choose to. I wouldn't even direct anybody to them personally. I would rather give people private information. Well, it's not private, I put it in the public. I'd rather give people information in the private that ultimately is going to be just as powerful, if not more powerful. They're gonna mess you about anyway, especially if you go through their system. You know, the DWP and the bar. So you might as well just start from the off fighting, because you're going to, you know, you might as well start fighting straight away, because they're going to jerk you about anyway. So you might as well get your boots and braces on from the word go, as far as I'm concerned. And yes, I wouldn't take advice from the Citizens Advice Bureau. And as I say, just something you just said, which was quite funny. I just wanted to make a comment. You were saying, you know, most of the advisors there are ex-solicitors, etc. Yeah, I wonder why they're ex-solicitors.
Can I
It always
just-
makes me wonder. I used to be a solicitor. Oh, well,
Can
why
I-
aren't you
yeah.
anymore then? Were you shit at
We
that
might have a
as well?
problem, brother. We might have a problem. Is the audio and sound coming through okay? Because it looks a bit sketchy. Something's wrong with the video feed. Sorry to interrupt you, Kev. You was on a roll there, I know, and
That's
I
okay.
agree. But is the sound and audio all clear? Are you getting the words? It looks like the topic maybe not, or we're in a stream time, which is peak time, and the bandwidth is reduced. I'm just wondering, can you hear us okay? Sound is fine, thank you, Eric. All right, could
Yeah.
continue on.
I haven't seen any comments to the contrary. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, all looks good. Hang on, I'm just going to share this out.
Thank you, Josh. All right, we'll link up if you're free next week. I am looking to have a podcast hangout with the Joshua Tree brother. I appreciate that. We want to give some hope, harmony, and resonance in the form of his unique gnosis. It's been a while since I've linked with him and expressed and yes, had a chat. So if that's all right, with you, Josh, we'll look to have a chat next week then, as we have planned. And on that similar note, I don't think I will be chatting with Mark Steele. Communications have gone a bit vague. I don't know if he's busy or what go on there. He did say he wanted a chat. I've endeavoured to try and set one up, but the responses are vague. So if it happens, I will make it happen. And a shout going out to brother Mark of the Steel and Mark Anthony, I believe. He is on other platforms and he's shared some of those platforms with me. I went dark last week for 5 days, and I've got those notices that if you look at the video Go Hard or Go Roam that Kevin and I did Friday, you will find out what go on there. And that's the reason why I also have written today one of the finest pieces of lawful notices I've ever done with regards to a company I used to be in servitude for, and we have some infractions and breaches of which have been left open. I'm due some compensation and some acknowledgement for having to resign for a second time. I resigned from my position because I wasn't happy and I wasn't being supported, and I had issues, health issues, and many issues regarding operational issues there. I spoke to a top boss who told me he really didn't care, and he just get on with it, you know. So there was no support, and I was well slipping down a slope of anxiety, stress, anger, ill health, and various other managers I can say have left there because of lack of support, overworking, and just basically no development, no care. So I resigned, and then I went back at Christmas on an agency, and I I needed to get some coins and promises in, and it went badly again. So I've ended up resigning a second time, and the company is massive. To be fair, they're in the news a lot for how much they're helping certain areas of the United Kingdom. It is a UK court, and I'll leave it there because it will be an ongoing claim that I'm making. So those of you that think we've got time for videos, and that's because we need to, and we like to speak to you all as one. Those of you waiting for individual, personal, direct contact, in effect, with me and Kev, that takes time. There is a waiting list. We're not arrogant. We're not ignoring you. I've got 2 people in mind here I'm thinking of, and you have the opportunity to contact us through this channel and our weekly, as you'll see, they are sometimes more frequent than weekly video updates, and we will be live in the .com later on privately to inform and address any issues you have, and we do that weekly. So if you want the contact, you have a public contact here, and you've got the master brain, you've got the .com with the private contact, hundreds of members in there, forums and groups and things for you to chat in, the Facebook SPLSpro.com, where there's hundreds for you to chat in there. So I do apologise if you ask me to read emails and tell me to do things. I will say I'll do that, time and universe permitting. So I'm very sorry the way things are. Kev, you're very loud again. If you all right? Is that the ice?
Your mic's dropping in and out a bit, mate.
Hey?
Your mic's dropping in and out a bit.
Yeah, I thought so. They said the sound's fine, but yeah, we're still all good. So yeah, that's the reasons for no reading of emails and where we are and when we are. And if you can't make a weekly private or a weekly public contact like this, YouTube and the .com, then you have to wait, I'm afraid. Yeah, and thank you for your continued support and indeed patience. I yield the floor.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. We try and get round, but there's a list. We try and work through it, and on a first come first served basis. What else can we do, really? But it is, I say, at this time, and lots of stuff going on, and personal stuff, and so we are being as fair as we possibly can, whilst trying to juggle our own meagre existences, such as they are. True.
Yes, it's a lot going on. I had to cancel the update last night on the .com and here because I had an issue, a private issue, sensitive one, that it demanded my immediate and full attention. And this happens, from time to time. We have no contract with you other than the moral duty and obligation that we'd like to get here weekly on a Saturday. We was here Friday, and the .com, we uphold that agreement, or I do anyway, and Kev joins 99.9% when he's free, and we answer. Yeah, we answer the emails and we answer the responses as soon as practicably possible, and there's lots of love and respect going out from us. Thank you for the comments here. I'm looking in now. There's some good comments, Kev, in the room coming in from Caesar and so forth. But if I could just get to the topic of why we're here: money, credits, promises, how you are surviving or not surviving. I've read a story which I've just put the link in for, reference Universal Credit, Citizens Advice, and they call for the drastic changes. I did share this with Kevin as well, which is what he's referenced some of the comments from the Express online article, which was given to me by my telephone handset as a recommendation. So thank you to the blockchain data dropping information there. I'm not scraping anywhere. I'm not stealing anything. I'm reading what was brought to me. 1 minute. And we have got the Citizens Advice calling for drastic changes. Advances should be suspended. Universal Credit has seen unprecedented demand in recent months, which has resulted in certain aspects of the system being reanalyzed. Citizens Advice Bureau, or the Citizens Advice, has put together a lockdown lifetime report which calls on the government to make several changes. These types of issues have been addressed by Citizens Advice in a new report focused on how the country is managing through this lockdown period, or not managing, with wobbly tooths and ill health, many kinds of concerns health-wise and fiscal-wise. The report starts by commending the government for introducing a number of interventions, but they go on to warn that there are still many who are indeed struggling. They fear that income problems may get worse before they get better, and that the benefit system need to be prepared for that. It then states the current crisis has highlighted the need for our benefit system to act as financial safety net for people during difficult times. I'd like to interject before I continue reading and finishing this story by saying we did look at a universal basic income and ask that why, with the knowledge that we have and this way that the systems are, why couldn't we have a universal basic income for all given, and as standard? That seems simple enough. The technology is there, but unfortunately it's refused to be done, where I think myself, Greg and Kev could spend a couple of weeks and sort out millions of man's instant money with a thumbprint and an app, note going out to the Home Secretaries of State there, and etc. But let me continue on before we get some feedback. That would be now the changes so far have started to ease some of the problems that existed, but the scale of the impact coronavirus will likely have on people's lives means that it is vital we now build upon these to ensure the right support is in place for all groups, it says there. This includes those facing a temporary income shock, but also groups who risk facing longer term and more severe economic detriment. Then we go at the bottom and get into the middle of the report. It makes a number of recommendations for what should happen to help the situation to widen eligibility and access the benefits system, to ensure adequate support immediately for it and aid longer term issues for the toughest hit. Publish guidance to clarify how the capital limit rule for claiming universal credit, currently set at £16,000, or credits promises as a pound sign there, or pounds of what we don't know, applies to business assets to widen eligibility to the benefit to the self-employed people who are currently unable to trade. They're not currently, they've got issues with them and support, as you can see. Suspend the benefit cap to ensure people can access adequate levels of financial support during this period and beyond. These are things that the government should already be thinking themselves internally and not having to be told by external, advisory bureaus there. But we continue on. Temporarily turn advance payments into grants to ensure that people get the support they need. Universal basic mandatory income would be nice, yeah. To get the support they need to get through the 5-week wait. That's a joke in itself, why you have to wait 5 weeks. You think waiting for us to answer an email a week or two, then you got to wait 5 weeks before you get any promises to put food in your mouth. Wow. And they're getting paid to do that job. They've got a salaried income of 60 grand plus, I'd argue, and billions of corporate financial and fiscal assets and international funding at their disposal, where we have not. I continue on. Working out all right this for us, Kev. 5-week wait without the risk of debt and problems in the future. Short of this, they should temporarily suspend repayment of advance payments for existing universal credit claimants, similar to the 3-month suspension of repayments of tax credit and benefit overpayments and social fund loans. They could ease pressure on households receiving legacy benefits by applying an uplift to mirror recent increases to the standard allowance within universal credit and working tax credit basic element. They could review benefit rates for younger groups of claimants across things like the standard allowance within the universal credit and the local housing allowances. They could consider ways to support larger families, such as through lifting the 2-child limit on benefits. And they could also look at reviewing support for disabled people going through the appeals process. So we mentioned at Christmas, the ones that are passing away and wait and dying before they get into, was it Pip we highlighted there, and brother Jim from Marie Curie, the ambassador for that. See the previous videos on this channel and you'll see what we've highlighted through the .com and the Facebook trust and domain there. So they could, for disability and disabled, we say less abled for want of a better term, personal independent payments, as well as improving the accuracy of decision making at initial assessments. Do you want to interject, Kev, with any of that before I continue?
It's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Go on, say again. I turned you down. I've turned you back up now. Go on, start again.
Yeah, the proposals are a bit harsh, aren't they? I mean, this is from the Citizens Advice Bureau advising the DWP to F everybody up more. That's what it says to me. Stop turn them into grants. And, well, grants is one thing. I think you should initially say this could be either, you know, and in some situations they might go, well, you don't have to pay that back. But
that's what a grant is. A grant is that. A grant is something you don't pay back. A loan is paid back and a grant is given. So I think you've misunderstood that bit. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. As I say, I know from loans previously you could apply for like a social fund loan, and at times, which is actually what happened to me many years ago when we were moving into the new house with the kids, we asked for a loan of, I think it was like $2,500 or something then, and they sent me a letter saying, could you ring? And I rang them up and they said, actually, you know, yes, we've approved that and we've decided it's a grant. So they gave us $2,500, which was, let's say, this is a long time ago.
Yeah, this report's got some positives in it from what I can see, to publish guidance, you know, to make the £16,000 applies to business assets, to widen eligibility, we said there, to suspend the benefit cap, you know, so ensure people all can access with adequate levels. I think it was your reference was your comment in reference to the grant and loan then, because otherwise, other than that, it seems that they are asking for you know, good things to happen, to reduce, to remove the barriers and to open up, so it's not so much bottleneck. And you know, you'd think the ministers and that's all right, good, because I think that this would need to be an internal measure that would be done rather than an external. You know, we may as well have ourselves get in touch, and the scribes here, and tell, you know, Rishi and the state, you know, moderators, secretaries, state secretaries, Home Office and whatnot to, you know, madness. It really is. Is all I'm going to say. The reforms which are required should be done instantly, overnight. You know, when we want to go to war, how quick does that happen? How much money do they find straight away when they're pressing buttons of redness, you know? So I'll leave it there. I'm sorry, but
yes, mate.
I've posted the link from this newspaper article there. I'm looking to say hello to the room and see who's here. I want to see what the scribes and the fam are saying, to be fair. See what go down, if you can see the room or not. I don't know, Kev. I'm going to have a look.
Have a run through the room. Yeah, I'm just getting back near the pot. Josh, how are you, mate? Long time no speaky. Anders, go mad.
Sister go mad. Brother Josh.
Yeah. Yardy in the house, brethren. Thomas Clark, hi. I did see another Esoteric Truth, Craig. Who else we got in? Mr. Moore. First name Roger. Alright. Chico. Jerry, how you doing? See you hiding in there. I did see another name a minute ago, which I hadn't.
We got Yardy, yeah, like I've
before.
seen, yeah, you're down at Eric.
Yeah, I did.
You missed Eric, I
Just saw
think.
it.
It was Eric, I believe, you may have missed.
Yeah,
There
I
we
thought
go.
there was another one I just saw.
Esoteric Truth,
JS.
Craig and Williams.
Burnell.
Yeah, Esoteric Truth, I'll say, and Eric Williams and Chip 33.
There it is, Purnell. Look, there you are, right, the last one. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Right back at you. Love, peace and respect. That's what we like. That's what we're here for. And a bit of remedy if we can get it.
Yes, so I saw the comments. I see there's 17 in. We do get more interaction on an eve. I think we've surprised them by coming on now, and that's fine. We'll get some comments put on, and then we'll review them. You know, we'll keep this. This is going to be a weekly issue, I reckon, until the resolve is brought to us. So I'm going to say that those on the replay, if you've missed us, we'll try and get earlier. I like the earlier times than the late at the minute to suit me. I'm being selfish, but that's because of where we're at and how we are. So, you know, if I was in servitude, it wouldn't be a 9:30 cast on a Sunday till whatever on the .com, and then 11 p.m. till 2 o'clock here, as we do on Saturdays normally, primarily. So we are looking to review and change this. I don't know if that fits in with Brother Kev, but regardless of me getting servitude or not, I'd like to try and get earlier, Brother Kev and fam, if that's all right, just because the late night chats are taking it out of me, and I like this routine I've got into. I'd like to try and stick to it. Yeah.
That's all I say. I'm generally around. Don't really matter to me. I'm here all the time, really. It's very it's unusual, unless I've got something on for somebody, or I'm doing something. But that's rare. So I'll fit in with whatever the fan needs.
All right, thank you. Yes, that's good of you to do, and thank you, Kev. I'd like just to make that known now, so those on the replay that may have missed this, that are the Night Owls crew of this channel, then we'll see you earlier, maybe next week, hopefully on a Saturday or possibly the Sunday. And I'm going to go and get some information links posted by a brother called Bert that's responded to this in the Facebook trust. And I'm not saying this is any good, and that isn't a go at you, Bert. It's just some links that somebody's posted, and they may or may not be of relevance. They are the public side of information, and I'm just duty bound to try and the links are far too big. Why do they do that? I don't know if you all understand this, but when you copy and paste a web link, sometimes they have over 300 characters. There's a 200 character link for the limit on this page, so that's quite frustrating that I am unable to give you these links. So they're in the Facebook, this post on Facebook Trust. You will find the links there from Brother Bert, and I can only say sorry. The link is far too big. When we do this on the .com, we on purposely shorten them down to less than 20-30 characters maximum. So
Yeah.
it's just madness what happens.
So they fit.
Let me just go and see. Yeah, something's happening.
I see Craig was out.
One
One of the protests yesterday. They had protests in the park things.
Oh,
Fair play, mate.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Jamie Oliver's in the house. How you doing?
I don't.
The lunch is sorted.
I'm not a man for protesting at the moment. I am a pro man, and I'm not having a go. That's my opinion. Pro and test, so that means for the test. Josh can explain things. You are all entitled to your own opinion, and you're entitled. I don't tell anybody nothing. What I'm trying to do is find my own pathway and my own way of lawfully making my voice heard. That protest is a lawful excuse. I won't argue with that. But sometimes they are detrimental to one's health. But there may come a time where if we could all peacefully and collectively get together and have our voices. Again, I'm not telling you anything. I'll give you my free interpretation and my free will and my free thought for you. If we could get together and surround the city of London as a collective, and essentially hold them in and hear and have our voices known. That's one protest that I would like to spearhead, lead, and be a part of. Those of you that watch, copy, and emulate and steal, if you are going to do that, let me know, and I would like to come and help as well, because much like a lady going to the Vatican and having a baby there to become the first heir of that, continent, city, landmass, even a country on its own, that would be hilarious. And a shout going out to that man, Indigo Tornado, that Kev gave me a nudge of with regards to the 2019 January report that I'll get you in a minute, of the police storming the Vatican and doing some arrests last year, January, I believe.
Yeah, Dave and I were discussing this the other day. I think we might have mentioned this the other night, Friday night, possibly. I could be getting confused. But I saw some posts going up about the Vatican being stormed, etc. Now, a few months ago, I saw a similar post about the white hats. That's, they were saying there's 30,000 of them deployed into Europe, and then, then there was all the talk of apparently, that they've gone in and kicked the doors off the Vatican, etc., etc. And I thought to myself, I heard this some months ago, and then another one of the fam, Anthony Indigo Tornado, he put a post up. I think it might have been yesterday, could have been today, but I screenshotted it. Sure enough, the date on it was the 21st of January last year, 2019. So I wasn't going mental. But yeah, so it's quite an old post. I don't know whether he realised the date. That's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, this has been bandied about for a while.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to know how true it is. I'd like to think very, but my heart tells me otherwise, I'm afraid.
I've got a link for the benefit cap as well. That's from the .gov UK for those of you wanting a direct link. I've just put a link in for the other one, the Lockdown Lifetime, ensuring adequate support. If you search that, you'll find the link that Brother Bert has put into this post on Facebook. And I'm going to get the link for the that well-known publicizer Cosmos something, was it, Kev, with the 2019 January?
Oh, yes, that well-known news outlet, the Cosmo Chronicle.
You are.
That one we've all come to love and know so well in our lives. That was the original people that wrote the article. So obviously, Cosmo Chronicle, who are they? But I'm just saying that's who the original article on the Vatican being stormed is accredited to or by. So I can't confirm or deny any further than that, but it is a story that's been going about for a while. Can I, just before I let you take over the world again, Dave, for half an hour with your quick chat?
Oh, you little bitch!
Can I just say?
Thought we were friends.
We are friends. I'm calling you a bitch. Isn't it interesting that in that universe, saying that the threshold of savings is 16,000?
Again,
right?
Wait. Telegram just glitched. Telegram just glitched. Can you start again, please? Because you got your payback there from the universe. It glitched you. Glitched the bitch.
Okay. So in that article that Dave just read out, or some of it, it clearly says that the threshold of savings is 16,000. Now, they will try, especially ESA, etc., to cut you off at 6,000 or over 6,000. So, to me, that is also confirming that you can have 16,000 in savings and still be entitled. And it can't be different across benefits. It can't be. It's either one figure for all or it's none. So, to me, that's also confirming 16 grand in savings is your threshold. So, as far as I'm concerned, they've shot themselves a little bit in the foot with that, in a good way for us. That's all I wanted to say, Dave.
No, carry on, yeah. So you carry on, brother. I like that. I like that a lot. Besides the fact that we are the prince the principality of the source of credit, and we get told, you know, it's painful for me to think and say you're all on the wavelength of now. You know that if we was not born and you know, indeed, as they put it, birthed into the legal realm at the point of registration and the citizenship, see Friday's video for more in-depth articulation on that, then there would be no bonded certificates. And if there was no bonded certificates, then there would be no special purpose vehicles invented to be put and floated on both Bond and Wall Street and other such financial aspects there for them to be profiting on. So it's really just nasty that we are the source of their profits, and yet when we would like to, you know, when we're on our arses, let's face it, this is a video and a channel for adults here, so we can speak liberally. I wouldn't want too many curse words and profanities and vulgarities in case ones have got their little ones in the room, their offspring listening, but for fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say there. Kev, you want to echo anything on that? Be my guest.
Can I echo swear words? I'm good at that.
Articulately used and could not. Yeah, by all means, it's an adult, mature. We're not adulterers. Chat here, and we need to address these situations where if we're all love and peace and airy fairy, then we're not really going to articulate anything. But I am quite pissed off about what we know now and how they do it, and we've got bureaus trying to help out and articulate something which should have been mandated initially, immediately, like the responses from Boris and Chris Whitty and the Health Secretary and President Trump. They are in a job that they're not qualified to clearly do, and they take too long. Grenfell is something I refuse to let go, to do something, and it's only when man is detrimentally murdered, manslaughtered, as they often only get claimed upon for, you know, and then they do something. So stable door, horse bolted, closing. How many of you can I hear a hell yeah or a thumbs up or a right on if you agree? We heard recently, before Kev you chip in and give your comments, and vulgarities, curse words are, I think, essential here. 40% of all of the deaths are in the care homes of the elderly ones that have spent their life giving to the tax systems, paying in. This is us in a few years, and they've been left to rot. The nurses on the front line of the NHS haven't been provided equipment. I'm going to yield and draw the hood up. My God, fuck's sake. Kev, over to you.
Outrageous.
Let it go. Let it rip, brother.
It's disgusting what's going on. You know, this whole situation perfectly unavoidable. Why none of this PPE wasn't already in reserves, etc., is fucking beyond me. Apart from the fact that we know where all the money's going, and it's all to private businesses, and they've all got their fingers in the pie. This is this disgusting shit going on.
Yeah. I
mean, I'd love to have a look at these pop-up hospitals that have been costing £2 million a month, and I'd like to have a look at the directors list of the people that are benefiting from that, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of them will be PMs and MPs and all the rest of it. So it's outrageous what's going on. They are raping every single one of us at every opportunity. I don't care whether they're left, right, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're all at it. It's got to stop.
Agreed. Here. More. Encore. Amore. Yes, it's come the time where enough is enough, and we've got to remember, lest we forget. Thank you for that, Kev. It's not lest we not forget. It's because we're learning grammar, quantum, negatives, positive. Lest we not forget, as I've said previously a few times, and lest we forget is enough. The not is additional negative. Kev, would you like to explain what you corrected me on? This is why I love this man. Off you go, brother, yes.
Well, lest we forget, lest is in case or in the event. Whereas, so if you to say, lest we not forget, that's a double negative. Lest is the word that's taking care of the superfluous not. The extra not. So yeah, it was just something simple. I hate correcting people, but I can be a bit anally retentive like that. So I must speak to David to say can't have less than not. That's a not.
Yeah.
So don't not forget to forget or not.
Forget me not. Yes, bless you. There's no excuses from me. I've got a lot of words, and I'm learning to control them to come out slowly, articulately, concisely, effectively. Less is more in my case, and in the form of notices and communications. And sometimes my brain tells me to say it that way, and I loop up, and it gets embedded in, and then I realise. We realise, Kev realised that every word we say over time, that we repeat sentences, structures, you are learning and programmed by us. So we need to be careful. We always say, don't believe us, research it yourself. There's no legal advice here. We're having a chat, and discovery and due diligence is the key. Can you see the comments of the room? We've sparked off humped camels and practicably possible comments. Thank you, room. Thank you, scribes, initiates of self. We love you. Can you see the comments there, Kev?
Yeah, I'm right there. In fact, I've just scrolled back to one from Steve.
Yeah.
He says, so if 8K, can I claim? What they're saying, you can't claim if you've got over 8K, but that article David's just read clearly says it's 16.
Well, no.
I know it's 16.
That article David's just read had ideas from to move it up to. These were parameters of which they're looking to be expanded and to open up, the throttle. So they are at present. I've posted some links in to be checked on. They are just proposals from the cab. Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at, Dave.
Or did I? I can't remember what I said. I need to check it. Go on. Yeah.
Here's the facts.
Oh, here we go.
They might be suggesting that it's changed to 16 grand.
Yeah.
The fact is, it's already 16 grand. Did they just don't tell you that? It is 16,000.
Okay.
They'll tell you it's, but it's not. So what I'm saying is, all I'm getting at is they're making a proposal of something that's actually already in the rules. They just hide it from you.
Thank you.
So they'll stop at 6 grand.
Carry on.
Actually, it is 16,000 already. So that's a bit of a what's the word? Not an oxymoron, but that's a bit pointless to me, because the fact of the matter is, it is already 16,000. They won't tell you that, but it is. But you have to argue the toss for it.
I'll put the link in again from the newspaper that I've read. I'm not going to advertise the brand, but if you're in the chat room, I'd take that now, because we do know that these comments and these chats, when they are a little bit controversial, we get them removed, and they take time to come back. So if you want that, get that now from the and Kev. We've got some new.
Can I just jump in again? Can I just say,
go.
Young lady I was helping a while ago, I don't know what's come of it, but she was in that boat where her mother, so the children's grandmother, was putting money away for the children. The mother had no access, no direct access to this account or anything. It was declared, and the money was for the children. The only signatory or anybody that could access that account was the grandmother. It was clearly in the grandchildren's names, and that was just over 16,000. And they pulled. They tried to pull her money at that point when it went over the 16,000. So I do know for an absolute fact that 16,000 is the limit, regardless of what it says anywhere else. And I've had that confirmed in a issue I was involved in. So I do know it is 16. I'm not just saying.
Yeah.
I have first-hand knowledge of it being 16. Is what I'm saying. It's been confirmed. So yeah, that little bit in there about thinking about putting it to 16 is to me is a red herring.
You did comment. You did comment that way on that when I read it out. So while I'm going to go back and find it, we have got Lisa, JJ, and a few new ones in the house. I'd like to say thank you, good day, good afternoon, and welcome to this controversial chat. Caesar, benefits, taxes, money, life and death, basically. But I didn't want to go too hardcore on the title and scare, for that. So. Thank you, Kev. That's first-hand knowledge then that you've got there, and I've put the link back into the room. So it says from what I'd report on this, remember the paparazzi, the sea of paper rats here. Sorry, but this is maybe a good article from one of the paper rats of the sea of. But to publish guidance, to summarise and clarify what I read and what we're commenting on, to publish guidance to clarify how the capital limit rule for claiming universal credit currently, it says, you're right, 16,000. This is in a national newspaper of the UK. I'm going to now do a search as well for you, and I'm going to bring up the search and put that in the link. So the capital limit rule for claiming universal credit currently set at 16-000 princely pounds, and I commented and said I don't know what that pound sign represents because they're promises. We're in Chapter 11 bankruptcy and the removal of the gold standard, lest we forget. So 16,000 pounds applies to business assets to widen eligibility now. So they're asking for it to now, because if you've got a business and you've got business assets, what happening here is they're saying, oh, well, you can feed yourself by selling some of your assets. And when I've had questions, let me finish, everyone. When I've had questions about trusts and private trusts and asset protection, they're saying, oh, you can't do that, David, because to asset protect is illegal. I went, well, we're not protecting business assets here. We're protecting man, blood, life, and private property. These are assets. My sons, your daughters, are assets to us.
Indeed.
So
needless to say, I think you'll find, I know people. In fact, I could tell you
I haven't finished it. Go on.
tale.
Yeah. Well, we won't it then. So let me finish then, bro. So this trust, because I've been getting attacked because I've said I want to protect your assets and I need to defend something along this which is relevant. Business and private are two different things, all right? And when we say we want to protect your assets in a trust, we're allowed to do that. We can do that. We can lawfully do that. When you go to get your money and your credit and your food and vouchers and stamps, wherever you are, across the realm, then we have an issue with the benefits and the DSS and the social saying that you cannot protect. You cannot have the payment because you've got assets in a business and you can use those assets in the business to feed yourself. So that is the rules of the game there. And to finish this paragraph, I'm going to read it from the beginning again, and then I'm going to let Kev chirp in, and then I'm going to go and find this and give you the link in the video if the scribes haven't already done it, JJ and co. And then I will, we'll continue on. So they want the government to publish guidance to clarify how the capital limit rule for claiming the universal credit, and that capital rule is currently set at £16,000. That applies to business assets to widen eligibility to the benefit to the self-employed people who are currently unable to trade. So you are allowed, as Kevin has said quite rightly there, and this paragraph was to now open it up so that the business one self-employed initially would be able to get the benefits. All right, and Kev, over to you. You can chirp on, my brother, and take on the world.
I do know somebody, one of Graham's friends actually, who's just properly, wheelchair bound, etc., who also was or has a trust fund worth a considerable amount of money.
Yeah.
And even with that, she still gets benefits. And I know what she's got is a lot more than 16 grand.
Okay.
Considerably, like probably a couple of hundred times bigger than that amount. So it just shows you what they say and what is achievable, or what, if you know what you're doing, what the actual rules are two different things. But they're quoting 16 grand. You cannot say 16 grand for one benefit and something else for another. That would be discriminatory. So as far as I'm concerned, that there, 16 grand in writing, that's it. But I say, I do actually know one person that's got considerably, but she is obviously severely disabled, so she gets the DLA, and I know DLA and PIP are not means tested, but it just shows you. It just shows you what is achievable if you know what's going on.
Thank you. Yes, that's
If
important.
that's any help.
Yeah. That's on the back of what I've said there. With well, not on the back of, but it helps clarify certain. You know, like before we heard stories that you can't get benefits for certain things because you've got savings of. You know, you're going in. Let's say you are looking at now having to put somebody in the family into care because they need to be looked after in a care home. But if they've got properties and savings and investments and bonds and vouchers and assets, then the government was saying you now have to sell these assets because you've got money and you won't be getting looked after in a care home because you've got savings. So now they've, a bit like inheritance tax when somebody passes away, that same individual that may have been looked after in a care home exits the realm, then you get inheritance tax on the money. And it's, hang on, they've already earned that money and paid tax on it. They've paid taxes left, right and centre, income tax and savings taxes and all these other taxes, and then they're going to give it to someone in the family and they have to get taxed again. You've got the probate is what we also look at with the will and testamentary.
Yeah.
I'm not just copying and stealing like a magpie of tradition and a thief of tradition and a magpie of magic, but we know our shit now and we are very good at it. And I just like to say that times are changing, and that just goes to show when we talk about asset protection and money and income and taxes and Caesar and rendering, we are godly type, creator-based, soulful, non-criminal entities. We can clearly see that there is something going on within the echelons of government, international monetary funds, the way that money and credits and the Bank of England that can't be investigated. We can be investigated, we can be taken away, shackled, under duress, incarcerated, under duress, against our will, for statutory, arbitrary, public code infractions, assumed and presumed. But we can't do that to some of the elite. Now, that's when the protests and the boots on the ground, I can see why you would want to go and raise merry fuck with these lot, because it's not on. And I'm going to yield there and get you some more links, because I've just put in the .gov universal credit guidelines for you. So anybody that says to I, Kevin and the scribes, feel free to check that link, .gov UK/universal. This is in case they take away the chat and you want it. www.gov.uk/universal-credit/eligibility. Off you go. Kev, over to you, bro.
We see that there it is, black and white. You go to ESA and they'll tell you it's $6,000. So it's just ridiculous. You can't even get consistent information out of these pricks. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
I'm observing that it is a religious day. I'll try to be careful with my language.
Well, for some it's Saturday and Sunday's a bit of a lie and a hijack of, but it can be.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, it can be. For me, it's yesterday. Not because I'm a Saturn worshipper and I'm of Lucifer, but that was in the original book the first day of the week, Sunday, and the last day of the week, Saturday, which would be the 7th. So that's all I'm angling at. Nothing to do with Saturn or Saturnic worship, but it is on Saturn Day, and that Saturn Day is called Saturn Day, Saturday, for a particular reason. And I'll leave it there. I don't want to get called a pagan or etc. like we did by Sister Alison the other week, liars and pagans. That was too much. We're not in the Black Hooded Club as such yet. If ever.
I'll pay again.
Sorry, I love you all, Kevin. I'm sorry, I'm getting giddy with this. Is a good topic, and please share this and embed it to places of which your family members may want to get these bits of information and proofs of claims, because you're going to claim benefits at some point, I dare say. You're going to claim something, and I'm going to claim many things in some time to come, but we'll help you out there and give you a boost so you don't have to do as much of the groundwork. We'll do that for you and help you go looking. I wish Albert was here, because he's probably going to kick himself when he sees what we've been chatting about and when, but I'll leave it there. I'm going to look at the room and see if there's any questions.
He's probably down the pub, mate, isn't it? Sunday lunch, having a few.
closed.
probably got one set up in his back garden if I know him. Good man.
I don't know. Maybe grafting as well. He's got some weird shifts that he's doing
Yeah.
at the minute as well. And I'm just going to scan the room and say hello to Sister. I'll start again. Lisa and Jesus of the Jones. I'm going to scroll up and see who else we've got there. If you see anyone we haven't shouted, Kev, feel free.
I was just noticing that Lisa was saying that it's quite tropical there where she is today at 45 degrees F this morning. So we know that Lisa's out in the bikini because it's tropical there in Alaska. That's sorted.
I've seen a comment from Sister Gomad saying, is Nottingham doing any meets, David? I've never done a meet in Nottingham. And brother Shark Silin of the Nottingham, Mark Salon of the Nottingham Free Thinkers, hates my guts for some reason. He despises me, calls me a liar, a thief of tradition and a magpie of magic. He won't speak to me. He puts nasty comments on my videos. I went down and said hello to him one time in Nottingham and got some shit for it, basically. There is, Tom Crawford there and all the others that I said. I keep saying these names. The British Constitution Group, Justin Walker, many of them, they don't like me. They're based in Nottingham Free Thinkers. So I don't know if you're trying to incidentally wind me up by proxy accidentally. If it is, then so be it. But if it's on purpose, I refuse to be wound up, and I've nothing to do with Nottingham Free Thinkers, Mark Salon, Justin Walker, Tom Crawford, David Robinson, Lawful Constitution, British Constitution, Magna Carta, and etc. I say peace and love to each and every one. To Mark Salon, I love you, brother. And I feel sorry for you, and I pray for you. To then besmirch me on my videos and make the comments that he did, and then to hold a trust special seminar after doing that and not inviting me, suck on them. Yes, and that's said with love as well. It's the W, the big W for just what you are. Think of a word that begins with W. It sounds like banker, and that's for you, Mark, of the Salon clan. Nottingham Free Thinkers, Justin Walker, Tom Crawford, David Robinson, and all of the fam. Screenshot that, everyone. Tell them that's what Indy said. Not Indy, Man David and the God. I love you all. We make a heart. So that's the energy that we mix with. That isn't aimed at Sister there, but I just wanted to get that out there. I don't need to say that any more times. With regards to seminars for SPLS Pro and our movement and trust, I would much like to get in a field and do what we did in Oxford, get back together, build a big campfire, and
Oxford was brilliant. Really enjoyed that. Albert's in the room, by the way. He's appeared, right, Bert? How you doing, mate?
Oh, as he speaks, synchronicity. Have you always been here, Albert, or have you just joined? If you've just joined, then you must have picked up on the sovereign internet, the self-initiate internet, should I say. Nothing to do with sovereigns. It kind of
yeah,
is.
he was just sitting in the background, Dave, waiting to see if we called him names.
Yeah, you anchor. Wank. No, I've just called the names out there. Those are the ones that I've called names because they've called them me. There's the reaction, and I'll leave it there. Thank you, Albert, for speaking up and saying, watcha. I'm going to get killed.
No, you come up with some good info this last few days. Well, he always comes up with good info, but the last few days, especially with the addresses and stuff that you were looking for, and the Clearfield, etc. Fair play to him. But then I had, after we went through all that, I had Graham, because I was trying to find Clearfield, this, that, and the other. Then Graham phoned me up and he said, "I got some stuff here off your old phone. Do you want it?" I went, "Yeah, if it over to me, mate." Lo and behold, nothing but bloody Clearfield, most of it. So there it was. After all that.
And yes, thank you. I echo that for the Dun and Bradstreet. We haven't deleted those numbers off Facebook, as lovely and as unique and as important as they are to find. We don't covet the information, covert it and keep it occult and secret, and sell it or anything. You can find them on the .com. You can find them on the notices I will eventually release to the various members of state and UKG that I've echoed on my videos of this last weekend on the channel. And Albert, we love you for that. You are a little legend there for what you've done and helping out. It's a team effort, and they'll be left there. Like I say, go and get them and use them, and you can see when we say everything is business and contract and the law of contract, consent and monetary value. It just goes to reinforce, and when you see those numbers against those names, you can ask yourself and you can go away and have a think. And for those that know and don't need convincing, then it's just a boost for you that you've got them. So should you want to inform, notice, declare, you can use that as backup. And when you've done that, they can't. It limits their discretion, doesn't it? Their discretionary powers is what we do.
Sorry about the rattling noises.
No, you're not. You're not at all. All you ever do, rattle on, rattle, rattle, rabbit, rabbit.
I've got to do my chores.
What are you up to, brother?
Otherwise she'll come back and beat me again. No, just making sure there's some food for tonight. That's all. I don't know what time she's coming. Hopefully she'll ring and go, "Shall I pick something up?" I go, "Oh, that'd be brilliant, love." But just in case she doesn't, I better prepare something. But yes.
All right. Yeah, good man. You are a good man. You'll make somebody a lovely wife, you will.
Oh, right. You might give me a second. I think that's probably, yes. Dave, I'll be straight back at you in a second, mate. This might get cut off. Just give me a second, please, people.
Yeah, no worries. We can come back whenever, and let me look at the room and see what's in the live chat then, starting at Love and Peace Respect with Penal. Hello to Stephen, Craig and Williams. Went out yesterday for a protest in the park. Yeah, I'm up that spot on. All right, respect. You've enjoyed that. Thank you. For the information. Good to know that man's minds are meeting and you are you collectively doing what needs to be done, and you're obviously on the chat, so you've made it in one piece. There was no fracas, and well done to you. Jerry, hello there. Was unexpected. I thought you were on laters shooting off, so catch up. All right, Jerry, thank you for that. Thank you. Craig's loving it and appreciates it. We appreciate you and all of your comments and your help and your shares. We're here for you, and we are reflections of you. So Sunday dinner and a session with the creator, Yardie, respect. Let me scroll down and see. Dealing with the outrage and the lunacy of the reactions of the public, principle of mentalism has been mastered to great effect. Then, bosh, chef, that is a statement, a paragraph, a sentence in itself. Oh, 1 minute. We've got special security on the handset. Oh wow. Which one? Let me do it. If only you could see the things that we have to do here, you wouldn't believe. There we go, we got you, brother. You're back in room, yeah? Hello?
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can.
It says you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, bro. Strange buttons popped up. 1 minute. There we go. We're on. We're done. Shabba.
Sorry about that, people. Happy enough. It was the wonderful woman. I was just laughing. I was saying, I was just talking about you. Seeing if you're going to offer to bring something home. She said, "It's never open." So, just had a bit of a giggle about that. Yeah, she's just on her way back from her brother's, so it's all good.
Lisa, you got a coffee cup in your hand. Can you make me one? It's been a while. I'm allowed another one before 6 p.m. I'm going to put the kettle on. Well done. Good idea. Let's have a brew. Carry on. Kev, if you can see the room, you can carry on. Or
That's what I'm doing.
back in a second.
I started making coffee until Anne phoned and everything.
That's
So,
that. It's going to get a bit noisy there because you're next to the kettle, but let's go back to comments.
I can have one more. What's right? Bit more defrosting there.
It was more about meeting like-minded people's families. That's what I thought there, Craig and Williams. So respect and yeah, thank you. If 1 million sent letters of protest, recorded delivery, much more would be better protest indeed. We're going to get onto that later with the .com, and if I'm effective with what I'm proclaiming to do to these 7, 8, UKG officers, secretaries, and generals, then we can do that. I'll give you this work that I've done for free. It will not be going on Facebook. It will be via the .com, and you will share it from the .com outwards. There's going to be a different outlay here because, Kev, we can see a lot of copying going off, can't we, brother? Or can we not?
That is the most understated statement you've ever made. I've never seen anything like it. Listen, people, we're not giving it the big I am, and it's not how we mean it at all. But the strangest thing, David and I will come on a cast, we'll mention X, Y, Z within minutes, or we'll put a post up, or David will post something in this.
Or you'll put a comment in a thread, even comments in a thread which aren't publicly visible even, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
The straw man.
It's crazy.
Yeah? The straw man and nature of the cage. Let's say it. I'll say it. I'll say what it was. Go on.
Yeah, well, somebody, a new member, and I do believe a slightly more senior lady, very new to this, was asked, sort of didn't get the gist of where we come from with the birth certificate, etc. So David then put in a response in the comments within minutes. The straw man came up on at least 2 other people's posts, groups, not just individuals, absolutely mirroring, but in a condensed version of what David said. And then I mentioned something in comments the other day about, I pointed somebody where to start. I said, go start with straw man, John Harris, so that get your heads around that part. Within 5 minutes, another guy we know had those videos playing. Show these videos now, the ones I just mentioned. So there's an awful lot going on, and it seems in recent months when we've mentioned the past syntax grammar, now everybody's all over that all of a sudden. I'm not saying, now I know we didn't innovate it, we didn't bring it to everybody, but it's not that out there in a lot of circles. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about it. Just like back 2-3 years ago, we were all being laughed at with the equity and trust, all the other groups, all of them, fucking idiots, basically. We didn't know what we were talking about. They're all still shouting common law and statute law are separate, which they're not. Absolutely not. And behold, us idiots, I think we're down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Every single one of the groups, every single one of them now is trust and equity. Absolutely all of them. That's a fact. Do they ever come to us and go, actually, lads, you were right, and we don't ever get any of that. It's just, no, we decided to change over to that, and we've only got ourselves to thank for it. It does make me laugh, but then imitation's the greatest form of flattery, so I don't mind.
That's what I was going to say. It's an honour to be copied and emulated. Just we do recommend and tell you about our avenues and the names and the people and the channels, and we go out there and we replicate, and that's why we do so well. And we're so loved, and we're new in the game, but we're well respected. And there's a key to the way to operate. So those that do usurp, subjugate, subrogate, and steal, leech, you've made us stronger and better men than we were already, and you will only reciprocate what you inwardly manifest, you outwardly attract. So the inward vibration of you, man and woman, woe man, woo man, that will always be your undoing and your downfall. And when you learn these hermetic, alchemic, natural, irrefutable rules of life, like we have, then you will then start to progress further and better. It's annoying that we could all join together. When I said about when I called Curtis Callenbach a knob on that video on Saturday, I mean it. He's an actual knob for someone who's a Christian preacher man of the Christian faith. I'll say not a preacher man, but to talk to me the way he did with such arrogance and contempt on a thread. All I can say again is that's Curtis. There's the W again, because no need for that. And you come out with your proclamations, and I'll speak to him on a hangout, or well, I won't now, but I would have, and I asked to. And I hear you've been in the game a long time, brother, and I hear you're still in the game. We're on the way out, and we're new in the game. I yield, and I say peace and love to a brother called Curtis, who claims to be a Christian consciousness, who acts like a knob.
Curtis, I like to call him.
Oh, I've got the screenshots to prove it all, so don't worry. I have my proof of claim. If it didn't happen, it was misinterpreted, I challenge you. My style is the best style. Kev's style is the best style, isn't it, Kev? Yes.
Well, it's been working for people, so it's not a bad style.
Rastafari. Like Rasta Boris. Yep.
Just along the sort of
Go on.
lines, Dave, can I just, I'm just going to put my 2 pennies worth out there in the hope that it gets right up this geezer's nose.
Go on, brother. Please do.
He's one of our friends. Well, no, he is a friend. Regardless, he doesn't think we're friends, but we are his friends. He won't like that either. But Baron David Ward, first thing I'd like to say, massive ego, massive cock, absolutely arrogant as fuck, and probably why I've not actually had a personal interaction with him, because I might run out of swear words. But anyway, here's my thing. Right? The guy. Now, I am not taking anything away from his affidavit. Okay. Apart from the fact
Oh, not this
now
again.
10 pages
I'm sick of this.
to be.
Sorry.
But he's claiming, he claims that's case law, right? That's what he claims, that's case law. It fucking isn't case law, okay? Because, now, yes, he's right, an unrebutted affidavit stands as the truth in law, etc., etc. But in what law? But in what law? Hence, whilst I take nothing from the power of the affidavit, he's not in the right realm. That's why it's done nothing. But to claim it is case law is bullshit of the highest order. Absolute nonsense. It is not case law. Just because they ignored you doesn't make it case law. If it's case law, give me the case law number where a judgment was given. Oh, you can't do that. Stop calling it fucking case law, you arrogant, jumped up, fucking grey-haired prick.
I can say that we've been saying for at least 5 years that I love that. Thank you, Kevin. Much blessings, and meant in the way that it's intended and said there. There's no skirting around and glossing that up, as my comments have been made and said in similar fashions and attributions there. And we stick by that, this channel, and we support each other, and we will show you who and what and why and where. We're not here to claim one thing. We're not saints. We're not sinners. We're your brothers and we're your family. So we've said many a time, this trust, Kevin, for years, that's an unrebutted affidavit. I like the way it has kind of my name ring to that. I will say that bit. And it's the highest instrument in law. That's no great discovery either. We've been all claiming that for a long time. And what people do is they hear things and they realise, that's something that I can use and promote and say. And I think sometimes they often forget what they've learnt, and they hear these comments and commentary, or they get asked questions like Nottingham Free Thinkers, Mark Salon, Justin Walker, Tom Crawford, David Robinson. I've got a big list. I'm going to stop, sound like John McCruick on the horses. Hip, 40, up, it's coming up for the... and they say,
no, you set me off.
And they say, so David and Kevin, SPLs are talking about beneficiary, trustee, settlor, grantor, and triangles. What does this mean? And then they realise, like, wow, we learnt this years ago. 3 months later, yes, we're now experts on. I yield the floor, Kevin.
I saw something earlier today, which actually I've emailed to myself. I'm going to send it over to you. It's just interesting. It was a piece by Tom Crawford, and he basically says in it that he's a Freemason, etc. Which is an interesting admission to make, if you ask me.
I nearly spat my coffee out, my freshly made hot coffee on.
I'm going to send it to you. You can read it.
Yeah.
You can read it. It was taken from somebody else's page, who you also know.
Okay.
But this was put up this very day, and you read it, and all about the work. And I thought, oh, hello. So you're openly admitting, Mr. Crawford, now that you're Freemason, are you?
That explains a hell of a lot. That's a big claim to win.
That's exactly what I was going to get at. Yeah, that's why. But in fact, I'm going to send it to you right now while we're here. Right.
If you could let and I'm going to I will look at the source myself, and we will analyse this. And scribes, we will deliver this to you the next time we're live. My phone's blowing up here as well,
right.
For various reasons, I do believe. Can I go to Eric? We go to.
Hang on.
We go to a comment.
You do what you've got to do. I'm going to send you this.
All right, thank you. Eric, he's put a comment here. If you have an injury claim, that would be a personal medical negligence injury if you've had an accident in the last, where we're going here. So a claim, and you've had an injury claim is what his words are. So injury claim, and you are paid out a large sum. He says you get a 12 months grace period, and they cannot use it in any calculation for benefits. So I've been receiving over the ding ding, there's too many dings today, and we've poked the proverbial hornet's nest, I do believe, on this cast in many ways, and we're proud of it. Thank you. I've had emails asking when you have had money paid out for negligence, injury claims, and so forth. Can you hold that secret, private, or do you have to declare it? And I've answered, there's a private payment there, and it's nothing to do with the government, and it's nothing to do with anything public, then I keep it private. I wouldn't be disclosing everything. Volunteering, those that volunteer generally don't get looked after. So let them come to you, them, the assessor, whomever it might be, the financial regulatory authority in the cases of, I will say, not just DWP or government, but whomever, let them come to you and ask the questions, because privacy and your accounts and that, we don't get to see John of the Matt Hancock, or I can't think now, Priti Patel, or Rishi Sunak and others. We don't get to go into their into the GCHQ, the only department of the nation really that listens as such. Hello, we love you even though you don't like us. We don't get to see your data. We don't know where you live or where your family are or what you get up to, or hear your secrets and stuff. So why should you hear and look at ours? In some respects, there's no fraud, there's no dishonour there. Do you have any information on this, Kev, by any chance, to add to what Eric has said? I don't have too much articulation at the minute, but I have feelings and impressions.
Well, sorry, what were you just covering? Sorry, mate, I was...
If you've got an injury claim, you got paid out for an injury claim, legal, and then you apply for benefits, or you are in fact on benefits. It says that if you have a claim paid out and it's a large sum, you get a 12 months grace period, and the establishment, the government, assessors cannot use it in any calculation for benefits. I would like to go and search for that and drop that link in but you can search that yourselves for now, because I'm reading down the comments. But it's to do with medical negligence or injury claims.
Yeah,
paid out.
Yeah, it's Compo. I remember when I was going through a Compo claim. Do you know what? I went and spoke to a claim guy at one point, and within 24 or 48 hours, I was contacted by the. We understand that you might be making a claim. Within 48 hours of speaking to somebody, they
Really?
knew about it.
Okay.
Yeah, wrote to me straight away. There's lots of suspect things they do. There's another thing they do, and they've done this to Graham. They had to pay him. He was at tribunal for maintenance charges and that for the property,
Right.
because he's in a big flat, and he had to go through tribunal, but he won it, and it was over like 12 grand or something. So what they did, they wrote and said, we're going to pay you this much and then this much. So we went back and said, well, why are you doing that? And basically it turns out the reason they were doing it in two payments was so that they avoid having to tell HMRC. But it's up to them. It's not actually their choice. So we basically went in with a letter saying, well, why are you doing that? Is that to avoid X, Y, Z with HMRC because you're paying out over 10,000 and blah, blah, blah? Obviously, they didn't respond to us. But I think he got it all, that without them saying anything or making any admissions, he got the lot as one hit when we pointed out, you're doing that for dodgy reasons, aren't you? There's no other reason. Who's made the decision? Or somebody else, somebody decides how you're paid. No. That shouldn't be the question. I'll have it all in one hit, please. I've won the tribunal. You owe me that money. Now somebody's deciding how I get it paid so you can avoid your obligations with the HMRC. Basically, yeah, so we put it on. There's all sorts of moodiness going on, mate. It's dodgy as hell, all of it. It's all... Because it's going to private businesses. Hence, they don't want the tax man knowing X, Y, Z. So they do it all in a certain way where they don't have to inform him. But actually, that is to your detriment. So you just pull them up and go, well, I haven't agreed for you to pay me in 2 checks or payments.
Yes, I respect. Thank you, my brother. I've just remembered one more name to the list. I'm not trying to be vexatious or anything, but we've missed one important name out, both Kev and I. We're being harassed by somebody that we've helped. We once received 25 phone calls within 2 hours from this individual. He doesn't know who I'm going to say, and he may well be clicking straight away who this individual is. I will say, given Christian first name Alan, leave us alone. You're blocked. You're not normal. You've spat in our faces after we've done nothing but help you. I've got proof of all the claims. You called us W anchors, because we didn't answer something. You claimed that we ruined your life, and you've given us nothing but grief for no actual reason. This is a gentleman. I'll save the liabilities and so forth that he may well think that he's due. But Kevin, have you got anything you'd like to say about Brother Alan and his randomness after all the help and love we gave him? He attacked us, and then he's tried to harass me and you. I'll speak for myself here on various platforms. He's a nasty, unstable entity that we've given. I went and drove to help him personally. I've been to see him in the flesh, persona, and all I can say is, Alan, you're not normal. You're not stable. I want nothing more to do with you, and I've committed no crime, and I've done nothing wrong. I bid you good day, and I wish you all the luck and love in the world. Unstable Alan. Okay, Kev, over to you, my brother.
I'll make my statement now. it might be slightly different from Dave's. So yeah, Alan came to us, and we had a chat. I've been chatting to David. Now, I've never spoken to Alan privately. There was messages in groups, and which I was privy to, stuff like that. So nothing. And the first thing I got a couple of weeks ago was this some pathetic message about, he called me a fat cunt, which is really hilarious, seeing as I've lost 8 stone and he's never met. So I've never even spoken to the bloke. That's how he started off. So that really set the tone for me. So there was no concessions. I just went in straight with, get fucked, you make me laugh, who do you think you are? That's what I did. But this bloke is dangerous. He has clearly got mental health issues, which aren't controlled, and I don't think he wants them controlled. But talk about dangerous.
Yeah.
Absolute ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We did nothing but try and help him out. And he's stuff like, I need you and Kevin here now. Well, David and I are 100 odd miles apart for a start.
Yeah.
So how you expect? But yeah, and weird stuff like, oh, come off and live with me abroad and stuff. I mean, out there, but we had nothing but good intentions for the guy. He's the one that's turned out to be an absolute nutbag. Absolutely, yeah, definitely a kangaroo loose in the top paddock there somewhere. I don't think that disrespectfully, but when you speak to me like that, I've got no respect for you. I've never even spoken to you, and you send me a message calling me names. Oh, I was so upset by it. I'm really scared of you, Alan. Give you my address if you want, Alan. You come knock on my door, we'll have a proper chat, mate, eh? You want to give it Charlie Big Potatoes? Bring your brother and all, I'll do the pair of you. How's that?
Yeah, it's
That's what I think of that.
yeah, it's not good when we help man and we give it our all, and we give, and just because we don't get in touch or we don't satisfy the requirements there, you can't just ring somebody and expect immediate response. I was actually cleaning mold off a wall in a private capacity as a man, committing some kind of trade there. Not as a tradesman, no, but in the private realm, and I couldn't get to the phone. I'm covered in crap, and I'm dutifully bound for the next 8 hours. And I have a list, and I have a work through. We can, facilitate certain things, and I do get in touch and operate things when I can, and I have the time, duly, effectively, and practicably. And those of you out there know that we do this, and we've honoured most of the contacts required. We continue to do so, but this man. Just basically demanded, and we've done everything, and we're not there. Once we give out personal, private, sensitive data, numbers, etc., we expect it to be respected and not to be taken, our kindness taken for weaknesses. So that was a bit of a kick in the bollocks unnecessarily, and we recognise that there may be a need for some help there, and to come and attack us like that through the Hangouts app and Facebook and comments on channels was just a surprise for one. But it was continued, you see, so we had to then remove and bar and block this unstable man, and that's what we're getting at. So just so you know, why we're careful with our privacy and data, and that is because we get attacked and spat on after helping. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done whatever was needed, but I just don't understand it. All came out of left field. It seemed that they'd been, he'd had his door kicked in for the cultivation of something, and then a few days later, literally, wasn't even a week, the door went in again for the same thing. So now that tells me either too many people know, or you're just going, it don't matter that I've just had my door kicked in, I'm going to do it again, and lo and behold, the door comes in again, then there's something wrong with you. And it just seemed that this guy was nothing but, the trouble was arriving in by the lorry load. So he was obviously clearly not helping himself either. So, and then to just get abusive out of nowhere. So I've never even said a word to the bloke on a phone call, in a message, but that's it. And then all of a sudden, I'm this, that. It just makes me like, call me all the names you want.
We got that. Yeah, I'm conscious of the questions, and thank you, brother. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to move on to Albert's got a We Dig It site. If you haven't copped that link, everybody, I've just copped that myself. Yeah. Dogs.
Hands home.
Easy. I've just got that link myself. We Dig It. So thank you, Albert, for that. I will be having a look at that later and checking that out again. I forgot about that. Hello to Lux Mia that's joined in. Thank you to JJ about the plural human beings and such things there. I could add endless amounts to that, but I won't. I'm just going to say well done and thank you. I like your avenues of. Chef has got questions about affidavits, what paper, what colour ink, Do we seal with a stamp, thumbprint and autograph on all sides? General questions. Lol, it is a 3-letter process. Omnitrium. Chef, Jamie, brother, I've got lots to add there. If you look at the paper itself, I've seen a man, I've seen this firsthand, write out an affidavit in front of a judge. The clerk passed over the paper with a black pen, all right, hear what I'm saying, and in front of the bank of the robe, the judge at the time wrote out the affidavit in support of the claims, backup and evidence, because this was the process of which he relied upon for his articulation and evidence. The judge wanted to know, I've got to be careful, because it's all finished and done with, but I don't have permission to share this gentleman, brother and sister's plight that happened, so I can't give you case law reference and everything like that here, but an unrebutted affidavit, as we've said, is how we've said it, and that's fact. And I've seen firsthand bit of paper being used with a black pen in a court to be written out in front of the robe, and the robe took that, and it was upheld and sustained. So if you want to look at ink colours, we've got documentation on the Facebook Trust and in the private domain on Admiralty Ink. If you do a search, please, on Admiralty Ink, Kevin can answer some of this after, because I think I'm going to spark some of his cognitive thought ways here about ink and ink significance, the power of blue, black, red and purple to be precise. Let me continue on to answer, Kev, if you want to pin that thought, my brother, because I know you've got some in addition to me there. What paper? I've got some paper that is high grade, certain milligram paper. It is not white paper, it's like an off cream paper. Let me get you this quickly. Kev, I'll turn you up. You want to do any comments, Kev, while I go and get my paper to show?
Yeah, it's any claims are on vellum, EDP, stuck in blue paper, but you don't get standard paper. You get something a vellum. It's not that expensive, but that would just be for the original of the documents, and then you can photocopy. You can send out copies, but as I say, there are certain colours that are relevant, depending on what you're doing. But yeah, not standard A4 stuff.
Ink.
Vellum.
Anything about ink, my brother? Blue, particular, Admiralty Maritime, dead, black, red, sovereignty, blood, things.
Yeah, black. Well, red, purple sovereignty, red's living man, blue is Admiralty, black is dead. Black is in the Black's Law realm, but I think the black and the blue really come in, they're sort of one and the same, personally, I think, in the dead realm with the person. And then stuff like when you're going on to EDPs and stuff, that should be blood and covered, your print there. I was just going to go back because somebody was saying about thumbprints.
Autograph, yeah, I'd like to say autographs are man, so we have a thumbprint, the prince, the principality, yeah. Kings, queens, monarchy, prince, autograph. So we have 3 areas of applications. The signature, these are my words and my discovery, and I'm learning from the best and making my own style, but these are facts as well as far as I'm concerned. You and your discovery chef and crew, fam and initiates, whoever you are, crew, because of Admiralty boats, I did that on purpose. You can make up your own decisions. I'm not giving legal advice, neither is Kev, but signature is a signature, and that's not you, that's not man, that's to do with the sign of nature. Sig, S-I-G, nature, signature. Write it down and look at it. Josh X and I will go on to these kind of things later in the week when we do the hangout. We've done this previously. So you sign on behalf of the legal, all caps, person. So that's your signature. That's not you. So when somebody says, oh, but you've signed, you're accountable. No. I've applied the signature, which is not my autograph. If I was accountable, David, there'd be an autograph there. If I apply a signature, then that's on behalf of my legal all caps person. That is not I, David. So I've done a signature, and that's for the legal all caps person. You can then have an allograph. I will leave you as a good teacher. Please don't explain, Kev, because I know you know this. An allograph is to do with, and I'm going to let you discover, because that's what teachers and thought leaders do. And then an autograph is, you should all know this. You put your thumbprint, maybe, and you can sign at an angle. I'm going to let you, we'll let Kev go into this one actually. Go on, Kev, autographs, and we've done signatures, and they can find out allographs.
Yeah, allographs, that's a good one. Go check that out. I was just going to say, because Jamie Oliver's put in there about his question, his comment was thumbprint, thumb encodes pi, maybe why it's important. Yeah, this is, so Dave and I were chatting about it the other week, and what dawned on me was thumbprints, as in PRINCE, not INTS. So there's another little play at thumbprints rather than prints TSCE. So we think that's all important.
Notice to principle is notice to agent.
Yes.
Notice to agent is notice to principle. As I said at the beginning, where the man coming into the realm and allowing themselves to be bonded, and the event to be registered. Remember, man is not registered. Allows the principality to come into place. It's a biblical word. We had Smithy back in the day talking about his book and the what's the word now? The church Bible dictionaries there, which we've touched upon previously, but not as in depth as that. And lastly, I'm going to show you this paper. I'm going to get onto this afterwards. But he's asked a question, Chef Jamie of the Oliver clan, and said, I've so many questions about it. So have you got so many questions, or are you in fact an expert that's trying to find out more, which is omnitrium? I do like that little comment there in Latin. And I'm going to leave the 3-letter process alone, because that's just conditional acceptance and going into fault. And then notice, so conditional acceptance, number 1. Number 2 would be letting them know there's a fault, all right, not default, a fault. And then number 3 would be the, sorry, I can't even count. That's why we don't give legal advice, Phil. Number 3 would be notice of default, one word, and opportunity to cure. You look at that, it's on the .com. Kev and I have talked about this many a time on the videos. And this paper, I can't show you, but it's got what you saw there. I've given you the box in itself. I'm not advertising this brand, but it come from, I had 3 boxes given to me by my mum that used it at the Derby law department for when she was doing certain things. You can get any kind of nice paper, and that's got like a bit about bookbinding in itself, how you bind and what is. That's just to do with general, not Admiralty Maritime. Sheffield Cooper building, Arundel Street. So it's quite old, this. When you hold this up to the light, the horsey in the word conqueror is the watermark through it, as you see there, and it's quite heavy, milligram. I can't see what it is, but it's above, is it GSM or something the paper's measured in? It's one of the medium to heavy type, so it can be used in a printer. It's not card, but it's quite thick and it's good quality, and it's a creamy colour. So again, it's got matching envelopes with that. And I'd argue that the one thing we've all missed that nobody's asked, and if it's on the bottom, then great, well done to whoever's asked it. A4 is a legal sized bit of paper, A4. So there's a bloke or 2, mans and womans, I know, but they cut the corners off because A4 is a military sized legal bit of paper specifications. If you go to your printer settings on the laptop and you look at printer settings and you go for print options on your printer before you print a document next, and you look at the paper settings, you'll get a drop down list and you'll see legal, A4, letter, and many different things there. So what I'm saying is the font, when you're typing stuff, because I'm nearly at the end, the font shouldn't be, in my opinion, if you're going to type something and send it printed, New Times Roman, and between 11 and 12 there's a legal requirement in the legal realm for the font used, the style, the capacity, the status and the style of that. It's New Times Roman and certain points in the font there. That's why we would autograph autonomously the man Gray's anatomy, atoms, autonomy, yeah, atom, all is atom, apep, the nun, etc. So you would write out by hand with the authority, authorship, and you would autograph, etc. I yield. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, see, Stephen's just made a comment saying autograph is a cursor, so a cursory, or your autograph should not be in any cursive. It should all be in unjoined, not non-cursive writing. Your autograph should be. Your signature would be considered cursive because you would sign like I do, as in it's joined. So that would be cursory because it's in cursive language. So, but I would contend your autograph would not be cursive if you've written it correctly. Plants, darling. Sorry, tangent people. Yes. So that's what I would contend there, Steve. Yeah, it's time zone. That's their jurisdiction. Well, now I would suggest it depends on if you're in the legal realm and using your legal person, then you would use the legal type. I would contend. If you're standing outside of that jurisdiction, then yes, I agree it should be changed. But if you're working with legislation in the legal world, I would contend that you would then speak to them in their language. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, carry on. Your opinion's valued. Valued, but I'm getting warm. I need to open the door. I've just heard a nice tune as well, but I'm getting warm. It's heating up. I'm reading the comments again. Not A4. What size was it? No, that was A4 paper, but you can use different. So I'm just letting you know, military graded types of paper are A4. A4 is a military graded, as far as I understand. In a king stand, it's be careful of that. People, I know man's cut off the corners to make them round. They take a strip off the side to make it a bit thinner. They take a strip just off the bottom so it makes it a bit shorter. Whatever you desire to do, just bear that in mind. Have a look at your print settings and research that yourselves and you'll find out. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that was A4 though. So before I send that, if I'm writing it out and autographing it and autonomously as the authorship, it's an authorship, remember, that you're on when you're doing that, you would maybe want to consider,
Indeed. Sorry. Kev's we all know blokes don't multitask, so
it's all right.
I say I'm doing two things at once, but it's actually stopping me doing one thing because I'm having to do something else.
We're going to wrap up now. We've done now. I think we've established a lot. We've gone up in scribes actually to 30. So love and peace to all that have arrived and picked up the notifications. We will look at going earlier each week, the same time between, 4 and 6 or 7 and 7 till 9. It's not set in stone. Rosetta Stone. That's just come out of nowhere. And we will love and appreciate the time we have together. We will focus on benefits and Caesar taxes, money, promises, credits, rights, charges, energy. And we have deviated a little bit, but we're here for you. And the room has been brilliant. You're on fire, and we love you all for. I know there's no direct attacks, and it's with love and honour. You speak. We've spoken with love and honour, and we've given you honestly our honest impressions and opinions on things. Again, no legal advice, no liability. No, this is entertainment purposes in the grand. What do we call it? Divine comedy of life. Yes, Kev, you want to say and wrap up and thank and whatever, we'll do that, and we will have a short goodbye and we'll get off then, my brother, because we both need to. Yeah.
No, listen, brilliant in the room today. Thanks for joining us. Hope you picked some stuff up and picked up some things you can argue with us about. That's all good. Just a quick one. Yeah, full scraps, just another paper size, like A1, A2, A4, A3. They're all there. Full scrap. It's all to do with the reams of paper, paper sizes, etc., etc. I think Atom's in there, clarifying that. Fair play. Thanks to all of you. Been a great interaction. We shall be back. So come ready with your questions, and we'll see what we can do. We'll do our best for you, as we always strive to, and tell you about our experiences of using the say. I've used all sorts of different language. Obviously, initially didn't really understand all that. Then the clarification came along, so we started adjusting it. Things started getting a lot more powerful in certain areas. I'm not going to say all areas, because that would be a lie. But yeah, certainly we have found there are ways to communicate. Papers, fonts, colours, blah, blah, blah. It all makes sense when you look at it, really. But as I say, it all depends on who you're dealing with as to the effectiveness of your approach. I thank you all. Good afternoon. Have a lovely day, people. And I hope to catch you all very soon.
That was very smooth, Kev. That was a smooth one. I like that. I'm going to just say, yeah, what he said. What he said.
What he said.
He's a,
What he said.
yes, like.
No, it's all good, people. As I say, you know, we're not shut off. We're not stayed with, oh, yes, what we know's absolutely right. If anybody's got anything to the contrary or conflicting, please come forward. That's what we're here for. We're up for that. We're not saying our word is law.
No. We've disclaimed that already many a time.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, we're for want of a better term, human too.
We're number one is what we are, though, Kev. I'm seeing that. Not because we're arrogant. We're getting these. You, the scribes, are number one because you found us, and you are telling us that, and you are having remarkable results. So I can go for that. Yes, I indeed.
Bit of all of those take me back to my youth.
Oh, yes, let's haul them out. We're hauling assets and we're hauling oats. Sorry.
I do that.
So yeah, we're going to get off. So ciao for now. I've heated up. I don't know why. It's getting towards the end of the day. It's 10th to 6th, and we've got a private update on the .com. Stephen and fam that are on the private domain. You've got a second dose of us two to come in a short while, and I'm going to relax and chill out, get some air, and thank you all. Yeah, ciao for now is what I'm typing in the room, Kev.
Yeah. Much love to everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, I'm just going to attend to my kitchen duties and cook my wonderful leader some food.
What time are we going for the .com cast? About 9:30, did you say? Something like that? 9:30?
9:30 is fine for me.
Right, yeah.
So whatever you want to put up, Dave, I'll be there, mate.
Nice one. Bosh. Let's go. I'm going to end the cast now. Thank you all. 21 likes. We've done well there.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate you going in there and just to take a couple of seconds out just to give it a like. It all helps. Got to keep the channel going, although we do try our best to get it shut down, and I'm sure they're watching. Well, we know that. They're going to have to work harder. You must try harder, just like my school report said every year.
That's it. Goodbye. Thank you and much love.
Bye all. Big love to you all. Much respect. See you soon.